I put a spell on you, and now you're mine. You can't stop the things I do. I ain't lying. Oh, been 300 years, right down to the day. Now the witch is back, and there's hell to pay. I put a spell on you, and now you're mine. Hello, Salem. My name is Winifred. What's yours? I put a spell on you, and now you're gone. My whammy fell on you, and it was strong. Your wretched little lives have all been cursed because of all the witches working. I'm the worst. I put a spell on you, and now you're mine. If you don't believe, you better get superstitious. Just that's my sister's. She's vicious. I put a spell on you. A wicked spell on you. I put a spell on you. I say enter pi, alpha maybe up and die. I say enter pi, alpha maybe up and die. Ina mani kami yama kariyama kariyama. Hey he ha he say he bye bye. What a way to start the show. And yes, this is the Halloween special. And I hope I haven't lost viewers because of that song. And I hope you heard the music. My goodness. Right, I need to get the live chat on. And I'm not going to do all the hellos because obviously I probably missed quite a few. But hello and welcome to Talk of the Crown. And yes, it is the Halloween special, which is why I am dressed like this. I do not normally dress like this, obviously. I really hope you enjoyed that particular song. But I need to find my channel. Because obviously I was playing something from my phone. Okay, I have found me. Let's go straight to the chat room and see who is here. People saying so much fun, you're crazy. Oh my God, look at you. Someone has a screw loose. Just reading some of the comments. Love, love, love. Great costume. Oh yeah, happy birthday, Scott Goff. I think it's your birthday, I've just seen. Tim Daughtry says, oh my God. Wow. And yes, hello to you in the Virgin Islands. Sorry, I'm not going to do all the hellos. Wow, let's just go straight down to the bottom. Mary Brunn says, who did your makeup? Me, about 10 minutes ago. Catherine Breen says, hi, Elliot, happy Halloween. Nice look. Love the singing. Thank you. And yes, I put a spell on everybody. Jamie says, I was late and joined in on the last note and a sizable scare. Yes, if you missed the last note, please do go back and check it out on catch up because I probably will never sing that song again. And no, I'm not on any wine. And yes, it is kind of like a Georgian. It's supposed to be a Georgian type costume. And I'm wearing the Australian brooch again, the wattle brooch, with my Nana's pearls and butterflies. I think it goes. This little cravat thing, which comes as part of the costume. And of course, my kind of Marie Antoinette-esque wig, which is kind of, it's a male version. It's not the female version. And of course, the little beauty spot, because they all had beauty spots back in the day, didn't they? Go-getters, okay. And yes, if you enjoyed so far, please give me a big old thumbs up. Laurie Clark says, happy Halloween. I was Rowena Ravenclaw for our Halloween party. I saw Rowena Ravenclaw's diadem in a shop, a really good replica, and I was very tempted, I have to say. And in fact, I just finished watching the Deathly Hallows Part 2, for those of you that are into Harry Potter. Alicia Anderson says, I love you. And Winifred Morris, oh, Winifred, that's who I was in the song, Winifred, from Hocus Pocus. It says, good performance, thank you. Jamie says, you look like the Queen. Chiming in says, you look like the ghost of someone. I just can't figure out who. I don't know. Tootsler says, oh my God, your channel popped up on my iPad and thought you had completely slipped your moorings. Forgot it's nearly Halloween. You're killing me. Yes, it's the Halloween special. Jeff says, good luck getting that stuff off your face. It's water-based and I am going in the shower straight after I finish this live chat. Stephanie says, your makeup is flawless. Thank you. Do you like the brows? Do you know what it is? Can you guess what my makeup is? Apart from the white makeup, which I bought from Amazon, can you guess what the black is? Sweet Serenity says, Elliot, lovely, thank you. We are going to talk about the royal family, by the way. Yvette says, your Nana's jewellery box is TDF. What's TDF? Joanne says, I watched Modern Family the other night. There was a couple dressed as Harry and Meghan, and their daughter was dressed as a royal guard. I thought that was such a nice tribute to the couple. I would have loved to have seen that costume. I don't think I saw it. Laurie Clark says, I so wanted to get Meghan's replica tiara and use it, but it wasn't in the works. Unfortunately, I took a look at myself in the mirror. I looked more like Fiona from Shrek. I'm sure you didn't. And I did try a tiara with this wig, but it didn't quite go. Jamie says, is the black coal? Yes, it's coal from my coal bucket. And I think it worked rather well because I put it on my eyebrows and a little bit on my eyelids and on the beard to make it stand out. And I think it did all right, actually. Good for coal. Oh, TDF to die for, of course. Abbreviations, not my strong point. Yes, for those of you wondering, British time, daylight saving time goes back tonight, actually. Well, actually, is it 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the morning? So next week I will be an hour earlier. So wherever you are, an hour earlier. Joanne Corn says, you look nice. Thank you. Okay. We need to talk about some royals here because there's been lots going on. How many's watching, by the way? 254. Okay. I haven't actually got that many notes today, look, because for the most part, most of the news has been happening still in Australia and Fiji and Tonga with Harry and Meghan. So I'm sure we're going to be talking a lot about that. The Queen obviously had a Dutch state visit with King Willem Alexander and Queen Maxima. And the Queen didn't pronounce it Maxima. It was Maxima. So there we go. I'm going to try and say Maxima. So the Netherlands state visit was for 2 days this week, and lots of the royal family that were still in the country were involved, of course, with that. But the one thing I did want to start on was a sad note, actually. And that is the Queen's last corgi, who we believe is called Whisper, passed away. And I'm sure it was an incredibly sad moment for the Queen because it's her last remaining corgi. And her last remaining corgi from her original set of corgis, who again we believe was called Willow, died the previous year. So now she's got no corgis. But she does still have, we believe, 2 dorgies. And I'm not quite sure of their names. But she has still got 2 dogs, we think. But yes, poor Whisper passed away. So I'm going to give a mourning fan flap for poor Whisper. And I think we need to send the Queen our best wishes because I'm sure she's been through many a dog's death. But when it's your last corgi, that must mean kind of something. So my heart goes out to you, Your Majesty. So there we go. Sweet Serenity says, sad indeed. It is indeed. Maslas says, I'm going black mascara. I don't possess mascara, so I only had my coal bucket. Laurie Clark says, Queen Maxima looked gorgeous. I started each morning watching clips of Harry and Meghan. Wonderful way to start the day. And there, of course, there is so much going on with the Australian, Fiji and Tonga and Invictus Games tour. Wendy says, I loved Meghan in that black and white dress. Oh, it was gorgeous with all the pattern work. Oh, yes, it was a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous dress. So, yes, I agree with you on that one. Chiming in says, yes, it was sad about the Queen's dog. Claire says, looking sharp, thank you. Can this look be described as sharp? I don't know. It's very polyestery. Mary says, loved Meghan's Oscar de la Renta dress, the one with the Tule butterflies. Yes, it was intricate and it just did it popped and it looked like a princess dress. It really, really did. Cindy says, yes, it was the last one from Susan's line. Susan, of course, was the Queen's first corgi, and she bred all of her other successive corgis from Susan. So yes, Willow was the last of Susan's, but Whisper, I believe, was a different corgi. Wendy says, very sad about Whisper. Candice Bavaria says, hi there all, hello to you. And by the way, a Dorgie is a Dachshund, I think that's how you say it, and a Corgi cross. James Med4 says, the Dutch royals were so gracious and loving to Her Majesty. The King made the Queen laugh with the bronze Jubilee joke. It looked like a really, really fun, rather quick, 2-day state visit, but the dinner looked lovely. Catherine, we know now, we have proof she finally has the Royal Family Order, but apparently she had it, I think it was earlier, perhaps this year, but we didn't see it because there wasn't any photographs taken. So apparently this is the second time she's worn it, but it's the first time that it's been seen on camera. So now we have complete confirmation that she does indeed have the Royal Family Order. We don't know if Meghan has a Royal Family Order. We will have to wait and see if at the next state banquet or whatever state occasion that Meghan attends, where these family orders are usually worn, and of course they are only worn by the females of the royal family, and it is at the Queen's gift. We will see if Meghan has been given anything similar, but usually the royals kind of tend to have to wait a little bit. But who knows, like everything with Meghan, things have been fast-tracked, so we'll have to wait and see. But yes, the one difference though, or rather people are saying that the delay, and I'm not sure how true this is, but people are saying that the delay in Catherine getting the royal family order is because of the fact that the original ones are made of ivory, and this one that she has is made of glass, so as not to conflict with William's stance on the ivory trade. Now, I don't know how much that is true or not, but it is significant that the new ones are actually being made out of glass, which I think is a real step forward. I mean, if you don't have to have things made of ivory, and of course you don't, there is no need for anything to be made of ivory these days, then don't. So I think it's a good modern step forward, and I'm just glad, whatever the reason of why Catherine's got one, I'm just so glad that she has eventually got the Royal Family Order, and it looked so pretty. And I really liked her dress. I know some people thought it looked very 80s and a bit ruffly, and some people didn't like the grey. I love the grey, I love the ruffles, I love the 80s look, I love the Royal Family Order with it. Queen Maxima, throughout the whole of the state visit, looked incredible. And of course, the Queen looked very, very healthy too. Vinny Blair says, Her Majesty can borrow Guy the dog, Meghan's dog, whenever she wishes. I think the Queen and Guy struck up a little bit of a bond, because we saw a picture of them, or a video clip, I can't remember, where the Queen was looking after Guy in the car. So you're probably quite right. I'm sure she can. Caroline Lightheart says, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have done Her Majesty proud, and that dress at the banquet would love to have that Derenta. You'd love to have it, yes. I'd like to wear it, if I could fit in it. Yvette says, chiming in, King George III was known as Mad, Prince Harry's 6th great-grandfather. Madness can touch anybody. Arnold Sanders says, the Queen can just take up with Guy. I'm sure she'd love to doggy sit. Floss and Rog Payne says, I thought Whisper came to the Queen from member of staff. Yes, I do believe so. If I'm not getting my dogs mixed up. Yes, because Willow was the last of the line, and Whisper was the one that she adopted, which is why she's not from, well, why Whisper isn't from Susan's line. And yes, poor Whisper's gone over the Rainbow Bridge. Kathy G says, what was my opinion on the security scale? Okay, Meghan had to leave the market earlier, and her female close protection officer stepped in and pulled her away. I think she was supposed to be at the market for 20 minutes, and it ended up she was there around 7 before she was pulled. I think it's always better to be safe than sorry. The close protection officers are the best security in the entire world. They are so much better than any bodyguard that you can employ. They do not care about whether you're doing an engagement or not. They care about your safety. They are employed not by Meghan. they are employed by the state to look after Meghan. So their allegiance actually is to the state, and they can do whatever they want to protect their charge. And this female close protection officer, I think, did a fantastic job. She assessed the situation. She saw that the crowds were becoming slightly unmanageable. I think, well, it looked like there was so many people there and they were crowding. It wasn't kind of spaced out like lots of the engagements are, you know, where there's two separate lines and the royals work either side or one side. It looked like they were getting very, very close, and the people were kind of climbing on the tables. And you just can't risk it because you don't know, unless everybody that's there is security checked. And let's not forget, this, of course, is a market, an open market, a public market where anyone can go. Sorry, there's a bit of hair in my eye, a bit of polyester hair. So yes, I think it's better to be safe than sorry. You don't know what people have got. You don't know what people's intentions are. A lot of the British reporters that were there were saying that it didn't feel scary, which I'm sure it didn't. And I'm sure the people there had no ill intentions whatsoever. I'm sure they just literally wanted to get a good look at Harry, get a good look at Meghan, and, you know, wish her the best. So I don't think it was any kind of, you know, slight on the people that were there. It just probably looked like a situation that was becoming unpredictable, and so much better to be safe than sorry, I think. What is the flag behind me? It is, of course, the Royal Standard. Can you see? Yes, it's the British Royal Standard. Donna Howell says, why is Charles's face so red at the Netherlands banquet? He always looks uninterested in all the festivities. Any thoughts? I didn't notice that his face looked red. I'll have to go and have a look. But, I mean, he's so used to these state banquets. I mean, if we went to a state banquet, we would be incredibly excited because it's the first one that we've been to. And everything would seem really, really good. But let's not forget, he's been going to state banquets for, what, 50, 60 years now? And, yeah, he's probably not that enthralled by them. But, again, I don't think that's any slight on the King and Queen of the Netherlands. I think it's just, you know, they kind of lose their sparkle, don't they? If you've been to... I don't know, it's kind of like if you've been to the same kind of thing over and over again, it's not going to have the same level of excitement as what it would be. But I certainly didn't think, from what I saw, that he looked uninterested. Camilla, I thought, looked really, really nice as well. And I think everyone, of course, for these state occasions, scrubbed up and looked resplendent. SC1964 says, poor whisper, the other two are called Candy and Vulcan. You are right. I have heard that before. So the Queen, yeah, she still has Candy and Vulcan, so she still has dogs. And of course, I'm sure, like I said, she can doggy sit Guy. But it is sad, of course, that the last of the corgis is no longer with us. Who knows? Maybe she might get another one. I don't know. Mrs. VSN09 says, Oscar de la Renta was beautiful, but that blue gown in Tonga was to die for. Yes, she's worn so many lovely clothes. A lot of people were saying some of the colours have been a bit dowdy, but I just think she's worn what she's comfortable in, and that's really, really good. And of course, she's shown off her bump. She was cradling her bump, and again, I think she probably is, what, maybe 14, 15 weeks gone now. But I do think that she's probably going to carry quite heavy and quite large. And of course, because she's quite small framed anyway, I think the baby bump is going to look bigger. So I don't know, by Christmas, I can imagine the baby bump to be quite substantial. But I'm sure it will look fabulous anyway. Vinny Blair says, Catherine got her order, but her fans savaged her ice blue dress. Well, I thought it was a bit more grey. But yeah, ice blue, grey, same kind of thing. I loved it. I loved the kind of 80s ruffles, and I thought it fit her figure perfectly, showed off that she'd, you know, lost the baby weight that she'd obviously had from Louis. She looked fabulous. I loved it. But yes, fashion can be quite controversial. Vicky P says, Meghan's fashion has been turned up a notch for this tour. It has. And of course, when you're planning for a tour, it takes a lot of effort, and you have to think about each individual engagement and plan for it. Think about temperature control, think about comfort, think about function. You know, if you're doing something in a rainforest, you don't necessarily want to be wearing high heels. So you have to get the outfit correct for the engagement that you're doing, for the climate that you're in, strikes the right tone, that maybe conveys a message as well, or maybe is a designer of that particular nationality or locality that you're visiting. There is so much to think about, and I think the Royal Wardrobe did a wonderful job. There was one moment where we saw a tag. Let's address the tag issue. And the tag said, please do not remove from the dress. It wasn't a price tag, it was a do not remove tag for some strange reason. So they didn't remove the tag. And when the wind was blowing, this tag otherwise probably would have been concealed. But no, it kind of fluttered about a bit and was seen. So lots of people saying a fashion faux pas. Maybe slightly a little fashion faux pas, but it certainly wasn't a big deal. And she still looked incredible in the dress anyway. I've just heard my cat sneeze. Yeah, so if you heard sneezing, it's my cat. Cheryl Harris says, I think it's the Welsh flag. No, it's the Royal Standard. Tootsler125 says, Meghan's adorable baby bump was really visible in the red dress. Very sweet. I think she likes showing it off. And I think she'll continue to like showing it off. And why not? But of course, the size of the bump is probably going to spark speculation of, is there one baby or maybe two? Who knows? But as far as we know, and until the baby is born, it's one. Veronique Similand says, sad about her dog. She loves him so much. She does indeed. Oh, we have a super chat donation from Rhonda, who's donated $5. Thank you so much, Rhonda. I'm going to give you a fan flap, a yellow fan flap. So thank you so much. Chiming in says, Whisper belonged to someone who worked for the Queen. She took him in when he passed away. She did indeed. Mary Brunn says, why has Meghan not worn a tiara at the official state dinner she's been to on this trip? Well, okay, we all remember the days where the likes of Diana used to wear tiaras and take them abroad. I think we may have even seen Camilla do it a few times. And the Queen certainly still does whenever she goes, although she's finished long-haul travel now. But the Queen did up until she kind of finished her long-haul travel. She used to take tiaras. But the younger royals, in particular Catherine, kind of hasn't. They kind of don't tend to take them abroad anymore, which I miss. Personally, I would love to see tiaras at state occasions when the royals travel. I think they should. Maybe they're thinking it looks a little bit less ostentatious. Maybe they think tiaras people don't want to see. Maybe they think it's kind of showing off the wealth. But my opinion is these are state occasions. People certainly that follow the royal family want to see the tiaras. We really do love seeing the tiaras. So I would send a message saying, don't be afraid to take the tiaras on tours when you go and wear them. You know, there are so many beautiful, lovely tiaras there. Wear them. Just wear them. There's no point in having them just sat in a drawer. Wear them. Just wear them. People definitely want to see them. And that's that. That is literally all you can kind of say on that. Running Late says, wow, is that Elliot? No, it's a Georgian, of course. Vianua says, that black and white dress, my favourite outfit so far. Prince Harry, from the look on his face, was very proud of his wife, Meghan. Oh, I should speak about Meghan's speeches. Whenever she's spoken on this tour, she's spoken very elegantly, very eloquently. And she's always kind of struck the right balance. And I think she is an excellent orator. And she delivers her speeches with aplomb and grace and dignity. And I really enjoy listening to her speeches. Harry as well has made some fantastic speeches. And the closing of the Invictus Game ceremony, I thought was particularly lovely because, of course, that is his baby, and Meghan thanked the entire Invictus family for welcoming her in and, you know, making her feel accepted. And I think now they're going to go forward as a big double act when it comes to the Invictus Games. Now I'm going to try. I've got water today because I don't know. I just feel like I need a bit of something cool today. So I have water, not tea. Sorry to disappoint. But please remind me to drink, because I always forget, and I never do. D. Ray says, Meghan and Harry were wonderful representatives for the United Kingdom. They've done a fantastic job. I cannot agree more. Claire says it's sad that she stopped breeding the corgis. Would have been nice if one of the grandchildren continued. That's a nice idea, but I think the Queen didn't want to, well, I mean, who knows the exact reasons, but we think that the Queen probably didn't want to, you know, leave a burden of dogs, because, you know, if she'd have carried on, you know, 6, 7, 8 corgis, that's quite a lot of dogs to rehome should they need to be rehoused. And I'm sure family members would have taken them in. I mean, there's enough to go around. But, you know, maybe the Queen just felt like, you know, maybe it's time to wind them down. And also there's the risk of lots of dogs running at feet, and, you know, the possible hazards that are associated with that as well. So there could be practical reasons. There could also be sentimental reasons and just practical reasons, probably. I mean, the Queen can be quite pragmatic, I think, as we all quite know. I think it must have been a very tough decision to take, to kind of wind back on the corgis, but she just still has 2 dogs. I don't think she'll ever be dogless. I don't think she'll ever let it get to that state. But, you know, at the moment, she's still got two doggies, and yeah, Candy and Vulcan. And I think that's probably enough at the moment. And it's a safe amount. Laurie Clark says, I loved Catherine's gown. Others poo-pooed it. They did. But she looked stunning. Loved it was glass and not ivory. You are correct. It was glass and not ivory, and I liked it too. MSMB 2012 says, I was so happy to hear about Catherine's family order, and me. And in fact, I thought to myself, if she hasn't got it by this time, there's something wrong. Something's happened. But no, she did indeed present it. And of course, it turned out she'd had it at the previous occasion where there was no photographs. Margaret McCulloch says, Thomas Markle is saying that he will go to court to demand grandparents' rights. Okay. I don't think that's possible, since Harry and Meghan don't actually have custody of their children. The Queen does. Well, the Queen kind of has like oversight, kind of. I don't think it's quite as severe as the Queen completely has custody of them. You know, the parents are the parents, let's put it that way. But, you know, with big decisions, the Queen, like anything, like with the wedding dresses and stuff like that, the Queen just has approval. But I don't think the Queen would ever interfere with parenthood. Offer advice, perfectly reasonable. Lots of great grandmothers and grandmothers like to offer their families advice. I think that's pretty safe to say in most families. But no, I don't think the Queen is interfering. I think, you know, the royals just go to her for advice and try and seek her opinion, and out of courtesy and honour to the Queen. And of course, you know, she gives it. We found out that the Queen was there when Meghan chose the tiara. There was a selection of tiaras, and Harry was there too. Harry was there when Meghan and the Queen helped choose the tiara. They all chose the tiara together, which was Queen Mary's diamond bandeau, the one that we saw Meghan wear at the wedding. And, you know, the Queen was there to give her advice, and that was the tiara that best fit and suited Meghan and the look that she was going for with the wedding dress. And that's kind of the same thing with the children. As for Thomas Markle, let's not talk many Markles after this little Markle chat, but you know, you do not have children to reap benefits from them. You have children because you love them. You have children because of unconditional love. And I don't think Thomas Markle is grasping that. He kind of thinks that his children, well, he's acting like his children are some kind of an investment. You know, you pay for their schooling, you pay for this, you pay for that, and then you get something back when you're older. That is not why you have children. I don't even have children. And even I know that you do not have children to then, you know, 20, 30 years down the line, take it all back from them and call in a debt. That is not why you have children. You have children because you want children. And you have children because you have unconditional love. And I don't think that's something that he's very much getting. And just because you're a grandfather, you do not have automatic rights to the children. Again, it goes back to, you need, I'm going to speak to Thomas Markle directly, you need to start building a positive relationship with your daughter, and then maybe in due course she will let you back into her life if she feels that is the right thing to do. So start building that relationship and stop blabbing off to the press. And that's all on the Markles. Yes, it's the Royal Standard flag. Marlene Weir says, "Hi, Elliot. Forgive my ignorance, but what are you dressed as?" Great singing voice. Thank you. I am dressed as a Georgian, of course. Look, with the Georgian kind of bow and the wig. Yes, I am a Georgian royal, shall we say. Rhonda says, "What is a royal family order? Please, I live in the USA, no clue." It's an honour that the Queen can bestow to... well, it is the female members of the royal family. It's within her personal gift, and it's kind of like this badge here. It's kind of like a little box bow with a little kind of diamond-studded portrait of the monarch. So, of course, Catherine's one is of our current monarch, Queen Elizabeth II. The Queen has two. She has one of her father and her grandfather. So, you know, if you kind of live under several monarchs, you may, and you're a female, you may have acquired more than one royal family order. But Catherine and Meghan, of course, will have one with the Queen on. And then, of course, when Charles becomes king, he can gift from his personal gift one of him with his likeness on. Cindy says, "After the Queen dies, do we have to talk about that? Do they still wear them?" Yes, they can still continue to wear the royal family order that they were given by whatever monarch that they lived under. Frazzled Halo says, "I loved Catherine's dress, as did I." Yvette says, "The cape on that dreamy gown was too amazing." It was indeed, as is mine. Carolyn thinks Catherine's dress was lovely. Mrs. VS79 says, "Oh my God, really? He is freaking nuts." I think we're talking about Markle again. And yes, I think we do have different kind of custody laws. Palmer Lee Stevens says, "Duchess Kate, or Catherine, looked amazing in that beautiful blue dress at the state dinner. Also loved Meghan's Oscar de la Renta. I think that was a big, big hit with fashion fans." I Love and Laugh says, "I love the Oscar de la Renta." Again. What did I think about the whole thing about the label hanging up? Well, I think I've spoken about that one. And I like the red dress, and I think the label didn't really make much of a bother. Keonti Kent says, "Hi, Elliot. Happy to see and hear you're looking and sounding great. God is awesome." I'm still recovering a little bit from my illness. It's kind of dragging on. I still have a little bit of a tickly cough. But yeah, I'm getting there. It really knocked me around. I think adult tonsillitis is not good. Mary says, "Catherine can never look bad. She's beautiful no matter what she wears." I would agree. Vinnie Blair is indifferent to the dress, but the necklace just made her look old. Oh, no, I love, okay, the diamonds and the pearls. She was wearing, of course, the Queen Mary's Lover's Knot tiara, the one that was previously worn by Diana, Princess of Wales. That always looks stunning. And she wore the pearl earrings to go with it. And a kind of, I don't know what to describe it as, kind of like a cluster necklace with pearls. I've seen the Queen Mother wear it, and of course the Queen, and it looks stunning as a whole look. I just loved the whole thing. And I don't think it made her look old. Jamie says, "The problem is if Thomas does that, the rule giving the Queen's power only applies to grandchildren." Yes, it does. But of course, when Charles becomes king, they will be grandchildren. Juliet says, "Catherine looked amazing in her blue dress and family order." Indeed. And MSV2012 says, "Catherine's Prince of Wales check dress was to die for." I am wearing the Australian wattle brooch, and it's a replica of the Queen's own. Dee Dee says, "I'm on Royal Family Overload." You are on Royal Family Overload this past week, and loving every minute of it. Duke and Duchess of Sussex on tour, the Queen and the Cambridges at state dinner. It's enough to blow your mind. Nathanetta Pri, I hope I said that correctly, says, "I liked Catherine's dress, but I did not like..." Oh, you like Catherine, but not the dress. It did look like a prom dress, just being honest. I loved it. I like the ruffles. Bring me more ruffles. And yes, Yvette, she was lovely and slim. Tuxler says Duchess Catherine's dress at the state dinner was stunning. She looked flawless as usual. I would agree. Rhonda says, I think that Guy lives with the Queen. During the engagement interview, the Duchess stated he was in the UK and doing fine, and then we saw him with the Queen. I don't think he lives with the Queen, unless anyone can confirm it. No, I think he's still very much Meghan's dog, but I think the Queen was kind of doggy sitting. I think she was looking after Guy. And why not? Anita says, I love your Halloween costume. Thank you. I love it too. Jojo says, oh my God. Hi, Elliot. Hello. Vinny Blair says that PPO has not been seen since someone else is guarding Meghan now. What's PPO? I'm not getting abbreviations today. Please don't give me abbreviations. Martin Gahan says, happy Halloween. I loved Catherine's look and disagree with the media. Mrs. BSN says, I'm loving every moment of the overload. I think everyone is. Arnold says, the people started jumping on the tables. That's why they took her out. Yes, it was becoming unpredictable and they just couldn't take the risk. Mimi says, Catherine needs to get a new stylist. Her dresses and makeup are way too old for her. I think they look nice. I really did. And I think when you dress for a state occasion, you know, there are certain kind of ways of dressing and, you know, under the certain lighting that you're under. Maybe that was a consideration. I think she looked lovely. Flosson Rog says, their new security chief looked more freaked out than Meghan. Again, I don't think the feeling, if you were there, was one of panic or anything like that. I don't think it felt hostile. You know, witnesses there have said from the media that it didn't feel like a hostile situation. I think it was just becoming very unpredictable. And of course, you can't take risks. Just imagine if something would have happened and, you know, the accusations would have been, why didn't security do something? So, you know, you can't win in that situation. But I think the correct decision was made. Sweet Serenity says, Elliot, bravo. Well done with all the videos. So very much enjoyed. Thank you so much. I really am glad you enjoyed them. Oh, yes, the Mosquito song that made Meghan laugh. So when she was on an engagement, they started singing a song about mosquitoes. And of course, Meghan got the joke and just started laughing. It was a really funny moment. And that is in one of my videos. So do go check out the Mosquito song, which I thought was very tongue-in-cheek and lovely. Cheryl Harrison says she was at the closing ceremony, the female bodyguard. Yes, I think she is the assigned close protection officer to Meghan, so she will be wherever Meghan is, doing her excellent job. Gail Beckford says, what am I going to do when the Commonwealth tour is over? I'm going to be bereft. Well, we have Charles and Camilla going on tour, which I will be covering. But yes, I mean, you know, nothing is quite like a full-on royal tour. How many is watching, by the way? 327. Yeah, nothing is quite like a full-on royal tour. And this is quite a whopper of a tour with 77 engagements. So, yes, it probably will feel a little bit empty once it's all over. Vinny Blair says there were no barriers in the market, bad planning. Again, I would agree there. Running Late says, love Meghan's fashion choices during the tour. First Mrs. R says, I'm worried about Meghan. I think her pregnancy might be rougher than she's expected, and her family's going to cause her so much stress that she might have some complications later on. I am sure she is medically so well looked after that it is unreal, and she will not be taking any undue risks. I know she went to visit Fiji and Tonga, but on advice, they decided that it was all perfectly okay to do so. So she took that advice. No, I'm sure she will try and stay as relaxed and as calm as possible. Lady Buckingham Dawn says, still looking a little pale tonight, but you look wonderful. Yes, can you see my lovely pale face? It's kind of Queen Elizabeth, isn't it? Live, Love and Laugh says, Vinny Blair, I think I saw it at the Invictus closing ceremony. Yes, I'm sure you all did. Mrs. VSN says, it was best that she was whisked out. I felt more concerned at the plane aborting the landing. until I realised it wasn't that bad. Reporters showing up concern. Yes, the aborted landing, it was just that they were coming in and they were kind of near to landing, and the pilot aborted and just carried on up. And it was because there was something on the runway. We think it was another plane that kind of hadn't taken off or had kind of taxied into the way. So the pilot just made the decision, obviously, to pull up, and then they just circled and went down again. So it was no big deal. Matilda says your voice is almost back to normal. Yes, it is, almost, as you said. My condolences to the Queen on her loss. You've reminded me about my voice. There we go. I need to remember to keep drinking. Christine says, laughing at Lady Buckingham. Marie D says, I agree with you. Security first. T. French thinks the female officer overreacted. I don't think you can overreact in those kind of situations where it becomes unpredictable. Okay, Vinny Blair says, well, glad she's around. She didn't go to Tonga. Well, not that we know of. I mean, did we see her in Tonga? Martin Gahan says, I've done royal protection for Catherine, and we are the best. Did you do royal protection? Are you a protection officer? But yes, certainly it is true. The royal protection officers, I think, arguably, are probably, without question, the best protection that you could possibly have in the world. And I think what also makes the difference is that you are not employed by the person that you're charged to look after. So it means that, like, say a normal bodyguard is employed, I don't know, let's just say Kim Kardashian employs a bodyguard. That bodyguard is under Kim Kardashian's employment. And if Kim Kardashian says, no, I don't want to wear a seatbelt, or no, I want to go to that restaurant, even though you're advising me not to, and if you don't let me go, I will sack you, then the bodyguard is probably likely to let her do what she wants to do. Whereas with a close protection officer, they don't. They can say, Meghan, you are not doing this. Harry, you are not doing that. William, you are not doing that. Your Majesty, you are not doing that, because we are employed to look after you and your health and your person and your well-being, and they can step in and override with matters of security. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why the Royal Protection Officers are probably the best protection that you can possibly have in the whole world. MSW 2012 says Charles's face is always red. It's just in the DNA from the region. My family as well. Some people do have slightly redder faces. I think it's called rosacea. I think it's called. But I didn't notice he was looking particularly red at the state dinner. Linda Smith loved Meghan's clothes. Dee Dee is agreeing with Catherine's figure, saying that she looks amazing. Okay, let's just see. I'm not sure how far I am from the bottom of the comments. Mary Braun says, sorry if I've missed a few, says, I feel bad for Meghan. Apparently she's come under condemnation because she was always touching her tummy. I think that was nice. Some were saying that she was trying to draw attention to herself, just can't win. There's always going to be haters. But if you've got a little growing baby bump, I'm sure I'd want to touch mine too, if I had one. Floss and Rog Payne says, Charles is looking florid. That's for sure. Okay. Frazzle Taylor says, I would rather security be overprotective than the alternative. I agree with that one. Happy Halloween, Jojo. Betsy says, I thought Meghan looked overwhelmed by the heat and the crowds at the market. It probably was, but it was closely packed, so probably hot too. And yes, just very, very unpredictable. Vinny Blair thinks the baby might be twins, or rather Meghan might be carrying twins. I think that speculation is going to happen because, like I say, I think she's probably going to carry quite heavy, but of course we don't know. Harry did say that he would like to have a girl. Again, we don't know. I'm sure really what he meant to say was he doesn't really care as long as it's a healthy baby. But yes, he did say he'd quite like to have a little girl. And Vinny Blair says they also received twin bears as gifts. Well, nobody would know, you see. So I don't think if they get twin gifts, that indicates twins, because they just simply wouldn't have told anybody if they're having twins or not. James Med4 says it was nice to see Prince Charles take on Prince Philip's role during the visit. There are lots of questions on the order on all the sites, ribbon colour, are they reused and regifted, etc. I think it's with the person for life and then possibly inherited by the family, I believe. Yeah, I think so. But yes, each monarch has a different colour, a different coloured ribbon. So if you look at the Queen, does she have a pink and a white one? And all the ones given by the Queen, I believe, are yellow. Someone correct me if I've got that the wrong way around. Hello to SD Frederick, who's in South Carolina. First, Mrs. R says, thank you for clarifying the security risk. That's another reason I was worried that she's feeling a bit frail. I think it was just a security risk. Mrs. BSN says, of course, whomever was responsible for removing tags from clothes is being extra careful. I think they should be. Irene says, has the Queen worn the coloured dress your viewers selected and chosen? No, but I think that's probably because she had the state visit, and of course outfits for these occasions are planned in advance. So I don't think she's had the opportunity this week to wear it. But yes, we are still waiting for, did we say the yellow dress with the, was it the six, was it, yeah, it was the six petal brooch, I think was the one that we chose. And no, it probably wouldn't have been appropriate for Meghan to wear a tiara while in Tonga. Oh, the Tongans. I have to comment on the Tongans. They love to sing and dance. And I enjoyed all the clips that came back of the singing and dancing. I thought it was amazing. And they look so happy to be singing and dancing. You can tell that song and dance is a passion of the Tongan people, and they do it so well. Running Late says, Meghan looks so beautiful. She does. Does. Did it? I was trying to combine does and did, and it came out as does. And yes, Catherine finally had wore her family order publicly. And yes, Laurie Clark, I think Harry and Meghan will take a short break after the tour, and of course to deal with the jet lag as well. But it won't be long before they'll be back to work. And yes, I think the speeches were amazing. 311 in the chat room, apparently. No, 342, because of course I'm reading behind. Floss and Rug says, nice that Meghan went for national flag colours with her outfits. That's exactly what I was saying about the planning. You know, these little kind of messages and these thoughts and considerations are, of course, put into the outfits. Vinny Bear says, the tag said, do not remove if you intend to return the dress. Maybe she did intend to return it. Maybe they thought it would be hidden. Hey, I'm Jess says, why is my face white? Because Georgians wore face lightning powder, didn't they? I do believe. Ep.29 2012 says, tiaras are only required at white tie and or state events. Yes, but in the past, I'm sure I remember Diana, Princess of Wales, wearing a tiara or two to like a film premiere. I'm sure I remember something like that. So it's not written in stone that is the only occasions you have to wear them for. But you are right, on certain occasions, they are required or invited. T. French says, Catherine's dress looked dated. I'm very sorry to say. It did look 80s. I will give that. It looked 80s. But then again, I like the 80s look. Floating Kaiser says, very sophisticated look, Elliot. Just like 1780s Vienna. Rock me Amadeus. Rock me Amadeus. Amadeus, Amadeus. I know that one. Molly Albert says, I think the outfits were on loan to the Duchess for the tours. Possibly. Maybe that's why the tag was there. Mega says, I heard when a woman carries low, it means she carries a son. Oh, I'm sure that's all old wives' gossips. I'm sure. My cushion just keeps flopping. Yes, I have a cushion in front of me, my beaver cushion, because the sofa's quite low back. And unless I'm sat back like this, I need something to prop me forward, or else my back hurts. Alicia says, you're so iconic. Well, this is so extra, of course. Catherine says, hi, Elliot. Harry looked great on this tour. Do you think he has a new tailor? No, I just think, like with the female outfits, outfits are planned in advance. It's not perhaps as important for the male, but of course, when you are going to different types of engagements, you want to be dressed correctly. And I think Harry did look on point for all the engagements that he's been to. But it doesn't indicate necessarily a new tailor. I Live, Love and Laugh says, I think the baby bump was more visible in the blue dress she wore in Fiji. Rodney thinks twins. Mrs. BSN thinks that they could have used tape to secure the tag. And yes, Meghan has tried a few slightly different hairstyles during the tour. I'm sure the humidity would have played a part in what hairstyle she wore too. Louisa says, hello from the Big Apple. Hello. And yes, you love tiaras too. And I think everyone who loves tiaras is disappointed when you don't see them. What brooch am I wearing? It is the Australian wattle, and it's a replica of the Queen's on my own version of a Royal Family Order box bow brooch. And yes, I did predict a 2019 baby. I was right. I Live, Love and Laugh says, you think they're going to have a boy? First Mrs. R thinks she's further along than we think. Well, we think the baby is due to be born in April because she's wearing a ring with green for peridot, which is the birthstone of August, which is Meghan. And sapphire was September, which is Harry. And April is diamond, and she's wearing diamond. So we think April. Oh no, I've lost my comments. Hang on, oh no, I've lost comments. I'm going to have to try and scroll back up to find where I was. Okay, it's now made me miss a ton of comments. So if I've missed yours, I can't find it. Please say it again. So I'm down to Margaret, who says, Elliot, any news about Meghan and Harry moving? No, we still don't know what country property they've been gifted, if indeed any. We have no news on how the renovations are going with the Orangery in terms of will it mean that the offices move from apartments 8 and 9 down as old ones, which could then free up for Harry and Meghan. But, the Orangery extension is going to take maybe a couple of years to get right. And then, of course, if apartments 8 and 9 are gifted to Harry and Meghan, they may have to be brought up to scratch. I don't know what level of work needs doing on them. So it could be 3 to 4 years before a suitable apartment is found at Kensington Palace to move out of. They're likely to get their country property a little bit sooner, but we don't know which one that is. There's lots of rumours, but for now, they are renting somewhere. I think it's Great Chew in Chipping Norton, I do believe, which is in the Cotswolds. So they have a little retreat, and of course they have their home, Nottingham Cottage, at Kensington Palace, but no new news on housing. Sandy says, let's have a twirl. Well, not much you can really kind of see. I've kind of got my normal jeans on. It's kind of like a cape. The cape at the back with kind of like a bow at the back. Yes. It's kind of more of an up-top costume than a bottom costume. Because, of course, I just sit down and talk to you guys. Melody says, do you think the Queen or Charles watch the footage from the tours and engagements? William, Harry, Catherine and Meghan do. I don't know. I don't know if they watch the tours or not. I'm sure people at the palace probably would. I'm sure the Queen herself takes a great interest in what they're doing. And of course, with modern technology, clips come back really, really quickly. So I'm sure that, feedback is given to Her Majesty the Queen. And yeah, that may involve watching clips. Who knows? CMAT says, oh my goodness, all mothers touch their stomachs when pregnant. You had a big stomach. Oh, you have a big stomach, not pregnant. And I'm always resting my hands on my stomach. It's there, you see. Big grin. I'm sure you are spot on. Mrs. BSN says, Harry was just agreeing with the person in the audience, yelling out, I hope you have a girl. Joanne Corn says, if Meghan is 4 months as reported and the baby's kicking, perhaps the baby's kicking at the time she's just holding her belly. Maybe that is another option completely. A drink, people are saying, I do need a little bit of a drink. Mary's saying she touched her stomach too when she was pregnant. Yvette says, I don't think the Sussexes should call their daughter Diana for the first name. Too much expectation. I think they're going to go with Elizabeth or Philip. T French says, Prince Louis was slightly visible at 6 months. I think Meghan's going to carry completely different to Catherine. And yes, I think the heat and smells in the market made her nauseous. Well, I don't know. Maybe I think it was definitely hot. Let's put it that way. Jamie says, Tonga seems like a slice of heaven lost in a vast ocean. They seem to have a lovely time in Tonga and Fiji as well. Vianua says, Prince Charles was so happy about Harry and Meghan's baby news. Congrats, Grandpa. Yes, I'm sure he will be a devoted granddad, such as he is to William and Catherine's children. Patricia says, Meghan and Harry go back to work on November the 11th. Can't remember what it was, but November the 11th. That gives them a reasonable amount of time to have a rest. Arnold thinks the baby, if a girl, should be called Jeanette. We don't have any confirmation on any US visits for Harry and Meghan next year. I Live, Love and Laugh says, Fiji and Tonga seem like beautiful islands. Have you ever been? No, I haven't, but I would, of course, dearly love to go. Joanne Corn says, sometimes women carry their baby more towards their back, instead more in their stomach. That could be the reason why she does not look more pregnant. Vicky P loves her Meghan's white dress on the tour. And yes, I will definitely have more drink because I always need it. Betsy thinks that Camilla looked great at the state banquet. I think she always looks good at these formal occasions. Ingrid thinks a boy, and you think the name would be Philip Charles would be wonderful. And I think that would be quite good. Jamie says, I heard when a woman carries low, it means she's pregnant. I think it does. And yes, I agree with Latoya. Let's just let her enjoy her pregnancy and she can touch her bump whenever she wants. Lily and Rose says, I look like I've just stepped straight out of a Georgette Heyer novel. I've never read that person, so I do not know. But yes, if that person writes about Georgians and that kind of thing, then I am indeed of that period. Okay, I'm skipping a few comments. Seaside Mom says, Jessica Mulroney was Meghan and Harry's dresser on this trip, and that is why the tag was there. Not experienced enough to double and triple check. Could be a reason. Oh yes, the big bear hug that Harry had from that very big man. I loved it, and Meghan looked like she wanted to literally laugh her face off, and she did laugh. And Harry seemed like he loved it too. But he had this big, massive bear of a man, picked him up and hugged him and kind of twirled him around on the boat. And I did love that moment. I nearly forgot about it, but yes, I did love it. Nafanetta Pre says the media is comparing the cost of Meghan's wardrobe to Catherine's. They always will. But the tours were different. William and Catherine only did 2 countries and not as many engagements. It stands to reason if you have a huge tour with 77 engagements, you are going to need a more extensive wardrobe than if you were going on, I don't know, a week's trip to Europe, for example. So you can't really compare like for like in that situation. Catherine says, what was old is new again, just like bell-bottom jeans. So I don't believe Catherine's dress was an 80s look. The first thing I thought was 80s, but then again, I like the 80s and I liked the look. But yes, I agree, things do come around again if you wait long enough. Gail Becker says, is it true Meghan did not wear a tiara because the state dinner was not a white tie but a black tie? Again, it depends on what kind of everyone else is going to wear. If you're going to an event where another royal is going to wear one, then obviously you step up and you wear one. But again, I think there's this thing with the younger royals about not taking tiaras on tours as much as what they did. I don't think we've never seen Catherine on all the foreign tours she's been on take a tiara with her. I'm convinced we haven't. I'm sure we haven't. And I just think it's this thing about maybe not wanting to appear too ostentatious. Jamie says, so perhaps Meghan is pregnant. I think so. I think she was just putting her hands there because maybe that was just felt natural to do. Yes, you do see a package, and I am going to open it. We have one here, look. Susan says, you make me scared. I don't think this face could look scary. Do you? Christine says, you think Harry and Meghan will go for a non-traditional baby name? Oh, you see, I don't. I think it will be traditional, and I think it will definitely be a traditional first name. The other names, I think they'll perhaps go to town, but I think the first name may be British traditional. It's got to get past the Queen, remember. And I will take a sip, you're right. Sweet Serenity is off for evening plans. I hope you have a really good evening. And yes, Rosalind, I think Harry and Meghan do seem to be enjoying this tour very, very much. And I think Meghan really wants to prove that she can go to all the engagements, but I don't think she needs to worry. I think if she needs to have a rest, she just needs to say. And nobody will bat an eyelid, says me. First Mrs. R says, is there any news on Eugenie and Jack's honeymoon? Not that we're aware of. Maybe they had a mini break in the UK, I'm thinking, before maybe having a more foreign trip, perhaps at a later date. I mean, maybe that's why. Or maybe they're on it now and there's a little bit of a media blackout and maybe we'll know when they get back. But sometimes the royals don't have a honeymoon directly straight after the wedding, maybe a few days away at Balmoral or Sandringham or somewhere. They may have had. Jeff says, I'm confused. Are you saying Her Majesty has no corgis left? Yes, she has no corgis. She has 2 dorgies, Dachshund and Corgi Cross. But the last of her corgis did sadly pass away. Veronica says, Harry and Meghan do not need a crown or a tiara to be king or queen. They have cemented themselves now as a global power couple because in the short space of time, they have made an impact. They have indeed, and I think they are going to feature massively within the future of the Commonwealth. Callie Verner says, what time is it here? It is, what are we? 11 o'clock in the evening, 11 p.m. But our clocks go back tonight. Matlas says, you heard Meghan and Harry don't want their children to have titles. Well, I haven't heard that myself. I'm sure that's probably just a bit of hearsay gossip going on. And I'm probably going to call that as fake news because what happened then? Fake news because Harry and Meghan wouldn't have spoken publicly about that. So yes, I don't think that would be true. But yes, their children, as of yet, will be styled as Lord or Lady, whatever first name of Sussex. But of course, if it was a boy, then the courtesy title could be one of Harry's secondary titles, unless the Queen steps in and makes them princes and princesses. Wendy says, I doubt twins. I cannot imagine the doctors would have let her undergo such a rigorous trip if she was carrying twins. Who knows? People saying nice butt. Nice butt. My goodness. Laurie Clark says, looking at Queen Victoria's children's names, what about Mary, Irene, Elizabeth for a girl, and Patrick, Henry, Christian for a boy? It's possible those names are in the royal family. Karen Love says, Charles stepped on Queen Maxima's dress. Did he? I didn't see that. While being seated for dinner, maybe that was why his face was red. I didn't see that. I want to have a look at that now. Jamie is repeating something he said. It says the Queen employs the government, who employs protection officers. So basically, the Queen gives the officers the power to tell her off. Yes, that is kind of true. I would agree with you there. But yes, that's one of the reasons why, like I said, our protection officers the royal protection officers are the best in the world, because they don't have that same beholdenness to their charge, which makes all the difference. And yes, I think they are having so much fun on this tour. And Harry does look relieved to have his wife there to share in all the duties. Yvette thinks Arthur for a boy or Eleanor for a girl. Wendy says, I always touched my stomach when I was pregnant. It was unconscious. I think that's probably more than likely what it was. Vinny Blair says, Jessica's husband Ben was in Sydney covering the games for CTV here in Canada. They made a 10th anniversary trip of the visit. She's not there primarily as a stylist. Don't trust the press. I think Meghan is probably glad to have a close friend on the tour. I would agree with you, but I think, previously having been a stylist, I think it kind of helps, cut costs as well to have your friend be your stylist. Why not? And like I say, the only slight faux pas was the tag being on show. And yes, SD Frederick, who would like to say congratulations to all the competitors from all the 17 countries who played in the Invictus Games. Go Team Sussex, go. Great speeches. Yes, to everybody who has competed in the Invictus Games, it has taken a lot of courage and strength and determination to get from where you were to where you are now. And it doesn't matter about times or the winning. One of the main parts about the Invictus Games is rehabilitation. It's taking someone who has been damaged by the effects of war and giving them a new purpose in life, something else to aim for, giving them the camaraderie which they would have had in the services in that kind of same environment, giving them a competitive edge to strive for and a purpose, and of course that feeling of success, not just if you win but if you take part. And the whole idea and the spirit of the games is just amazing. So congratulations to everybody who has taken part, whether you won the game or not. Just being there to take part and going through the whole experience, I'm sure was amazing. L. Michael says, I suspect the Queen will give Harry's children titles. We do not know until such times as they are born or the baby is born. Will I be going to the wedding exhibition? I would love to. I really want to see the dress and the tiara, of course. Jamie says, the Queen is carrying very low. Perhaps she's having a girl. I rather much hope not. Oh my goodness, could you imagine? Alexis says her speech about paying for college had to be true, and the myth her dad paid for school can now be put to rest. Okay, it depends kind of which school she was talking about. Did her dad pay for what we call like secondary education, which is like up to 16? Or did he pay for college education? I mean, I don't know. Did he pay for both? Did Meghan help contribute? I really don't know. But I very much doubt she would have included something that was a down and out lie in her speech. So I'm sure, regardless of whether dad paid or not, she may probably have had to have made some kind of financial sacrifices and maybe worked a job to kind of get herself through, as many people do here in the UK today. Lots of parents, help contribute for maybe rent or tuition fees, or help with repayments on student loans, perhaps, if they're able to. but the children still have to go out and get jobs to be able to pay for the food and whatever. So again, I don't think we know too much about the whole situation to make that kind of comment, but I don't think Meghan would have lied in the speech. Janine says, I think her head security was sort of overwhelmed and really hadn't checked out the facility. I think, like I think Vinny said, the barriers weren't in place. Maybe they were promised barriers when they did their recce visit, because they always do a recce visit first. And like I say, I just think better safe than sorry. Hal Michaels thinks Tatiana, Princess Tatiana of Sussex. That's a mouthful. Oh yes, the Queen's Corgis is now a cartoon, and it will be coming to the USA at some point. I haven't seen it. C-Mac says the closing ceremony for the Invictus Games was awesome. It was indeed. Carolyn is off. Good night to Carolyn. Matla says, high is a baby, low is all over a girl. To me, Meghan looks like she's carrying a girl because she looks a little bit like she's gained some weight all around, especially the face. I have no idea how true those kind of wives' tales are. I don't know. MSNB 2012 says maybe they will choose an Irish-sounding name, considering Charles's uncle Louis was killed by the IRA. Well, of course, we already have a Prince Louis, so I doubt they'll go for Louis, but maybe an Irish name, maybe. But I think more likely Elizabeth or Philip. And David, I've already spoken about the tag rather extensively. And lots of people have noticed Prince Charles's red face. I have to say, I didn't really notice the red face. Maybe he was hot. Ingrid says, what did I have for lunch today? Well, I'm still not eating very much. I've lost a bit of weight. And my taste buds haven't recovered from the tonsillitis. I'm tasting completely different things. I'm off chocolate and sweet stuff, which I used to always love. When I do eat something, I kind of have a few mouthfuls and then just feel like, ugh, I don't want to eat. So I had a little bit of fish and chips for my dinner, but not really that much. And I had kind of like a bit of a stew for my dinner, but again, I didn't really eat terribly as much as what I would normally do. So I've been eating lots of melon, actually. I've kind of fancied lots of melon and still some ice cream and that kind of thing. So my stomach, I don't know what happened during the 6 or 7 days when I didn't eat, but even my stomach completely shrunk up. I don't know. My taste buds are still all astray, I have to say. Again, we don't know if the baby is kicking. And yes, I did see that Princess usually liked an Instagram post about Meghan. Just goes to show what people were saying before about, do the royals look at social media and clips about themselves? Well, obviously they do. No, I don't think we do know if Meghan has an actual Twitter account or Harry's. Although I think I did find Harry on social media once, and I'm not going to say the name of it because if it is his social media name, then I don't want to spoil it, because he had a social media name years ago that was leaked, and he had to change all of his profiles and everything, and it was a big hoo-ha. But I think I do know the name of one of Harry's social media accounts, if indeed he does have them. But I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want to spoil it for him, because I think, the royals do have a right to have some degree of privacy and, not have that blabbed all over the internet. The one that I'm talking about, I think possibly is known. I don't know, but there is one. But I'm not going to say what it is. Let's just put it that way. I think that they do deserve privacy. Mary says, am I going to have my tonsils out? They don't do it on a NHS service anymore like they used to. It has to be a chronic problem, one that you have, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 times a year for 2 or 3 years. So unless it's chronic or you pay yourself to have them out, then no, they don't do them. Dee Dee says, I think Harry and Meghan will go for traditional British names for their first child. I would probably agree. Vinny Blair thinks Mary, Philippa, Charlie, Sussex. Nora thinks Queen Maxima's tiara was magnificent. And Jamie I think it's a boy because Meghan walks with her left foot first and she has 5 fingers. That means it's a boy. You could be right. Bev says maybe Meghan is feeling her stomach because she feels those wonderful changes in her stomach and body. Again, I would agree. I think it's just a natural reaction. Joanne says I was 4 months pregnant when my girls started kicking. And yes, I think if she'd shown up in a tiara when no one else was, I think it probably would have been a bit awkward. First Mrs. R says, I have a practical question if we want to send you a message. Best way to... Yeah, YouTube stopped the message feature for some reason. I'm trying to think of the best way to send me a message. What have you tried already? I don't know. Is it such a private message you can't just leave it in a comment? I don't know. I'll try and think of a way where people can send me proper messages. Go Getter says, I wish to thank you again for giving me and us consistency in information and accuracy in news. It is such a joy. Oh, and if I may say so, you look like a ghost from the Christmas Carol, the movie. I also have a bit of red on my lips as well. A rather subtle red, I have to say. A natural looking rose pink. Yes, don't forget the head and 2 eyes. Vinny Blair says, or maybe it's not our business where they went on their honeymoon. Prince Harry and Meghan never said. That is true. Sharon says, can Meghan spend her own money? Yeah, why not? It's her own money. And Joanne says, time goes back next week here in America. El Michael thinks that Harry and Meghan will end up being more popular than William and Catherine. Controversial. Whirlwind of World Peace says, hello England, hello world, hello Vision in White with a fab fan. Thank you so much. And I like being called a Vision in White. El Michael likes the name Cecily. Lipstick Flower says, hello again from Cream Cheese, Philadelphia. I'm so glad I was finally able to catch you live again. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween to you. Jamie says, Charles didn't step on her dress, fake news, which would be why I didn't see it. There you go. But I don't like to call things as fake news until I've checked them out. So thank you, Jamie, for clearing that up. Vicky P says, what will they do with all the baby gifts from this tour? Well, I believe that if anything is under the value of £200, British pounds, they are allowed to keep. And anything above, I think, goes into Royal Archives, I think. But I think the Royal Archives, the Royal Collection can loan things, because think back to like wedding gifts, for example, or things like that, or gifts on tours where people have received jewels and then they've worn them. So I think it remains possession of the Royal Collection if it's over £200, but I think can be used by the royals should they wish to, or be used on display perhaps in their homes if it's something that can be displayed. But they can't sell them, for example, which I'm sure they wouldn't anyway. And yes, it is hard to believe that little more than a year ago, Meghan and Harry went public with their relationship. And I need a drink before I start sounding like a ghoul. Oh, this lipstick stuff must be waterproof because there's no marks on my glass. Quite good. Maybe I'll start doing makeup tutorials. If you want to look like death, watch my makeup tutorial. Laurie Clark said, I thought it was one of the servants who stepped on a dress. Maybe someone stepped on her dress. I don't know. But like I say, I hadn't heard or seen that it was Charles. Farah says, good morning from Bandung Barat, Indonesia. Hello to you. Kathy says, love your costume. It's awesome. Thank you so much. Sonia says, Meghan and Harry arrive here in New Zealand later this afternoon. Sadly, they aren't coming down the country, and nowhere even remotely close to me at the bottom of the South Island. That is really sad, but they really can't do everything. But yes, I think it's just really, really good that they will be there, just in the country in general. Miranda says Meghan supposedly paid for the honeymoon in her own money. Again, we don't know, but yes, the honeymoon would have been met by private funds. It wouldn't have been public money. CMAC says Meghan was referring to college, which is college you're up to 16 or post 16? That's your post 16, isn't it? College for us is like 16 to 18, and then it's university, which is the further education. Yes, I probably think Meghan Markle is a women's lib supporter. Yes, I did see the 12-year-old boy that gave Harry the tiara. And then he did give it to Daphne Dunn, the elderly lady who he's struck up a rather lovely bond with. And yes, she did. Meghan did work as a calligrapher when she was in college. So she did have a second job. Well, a job. Coughing. Rhonda says Meghan was speaking about her college education. She spoke specifically about higher education. In the US, that always refers to college or university. Betsy says, do I know when Catherine has another engagement? I haven't, because I've been so busy with the royal tour. I haven't checked the royal calendar on the official website. So I'm kind of just waiting for it to turn up. I usually write down a list of engagements in my diary, but because I've been so busy and still feeling a bit tired and recovering, I haven't looked. So I'm afraid I don't know her next engagement. Maybe someone can pop on quickly and have a look and tell us. Jill Doglover says, personally speaking, I think Catherine never looked better. She was stunning. I think she was indeed. Lots of people debating Meghan's tuition fees. And no, Anita, I agree. I don't believe Eugenie was upset with Meghan's baby announcement at all. Jamie says, I'm sure Camilla is like licking up all those fake news stories about herself. Oh, how many times has she been kicked out of the castle this week? Those stories, my goodness. No, I'm afraid no recent pictures of Prince Louis. Sorry. Yes, maybe I should make some smoothies. People saying I should drink some soup. I kind of had enough of soup when I couldn't eat solids. I can't stand the thought of too much more soup. I did get through a few chicken nuggets the other day and some salad. But yes, food, I'm not really enjoying food at the moment. Ingrid says, but if you have a social media account, it is not private, it is for socializing. Yes, but only people with whom you wish to socialize with. If you're a public figure and you've got a social media account, you may not necessarily want it to be a public one. You may wish it to be a private one for literally just people, just friends and family. Jamie thinks they will call the baby Hyacinth. Oh, I like it. Princess Hyacinth Bouquet of Sussex. I like that one too. Lynn's B says, I really love Elliot's channel, and for this to carry on the royal popularity, people need to drop with the comparisons. I would agree there. Running Late says, my channel is so positive and fun, that's why I keep coming back week after week. Oh, by the way, thank you. And how many people are watching? 290. Yes, actually, I could perhaps set up a separate email address, maybe. Kathy G says, Thomas Markle filed for bankruptcy in 1991 and 93. Okay. My tickly cough is horrible. I hate it. I wish that's the one thing I wish would go away. Time to open the box. I will. Jamie says, Philip is so old he's almost in the antique section of the Royal Collection. Oh, Jamie, my goodness. Okay, I'm skipping a few comments. And Jamie continuing with his theme. By the time she died, the Queen Mother was one of the oldest things in the Royal Collection. Jamie! My goodness. CMAT says, is that age 16 to 18? College is after 12 years of schooling in America, and the person is usually 17 to 18. Yes, I think the schooling terminology is completely different for the UK and for America. Patrick says, am I preferable to a dry muffin or a moist one? With my throat, I definitely think I need a moist muffin. Laurie Clark says, just now watched the video again, and it was Charles who stepped on her gown. I haven't seen that video, so I will have to go and take a good look at that one. Yes, I am going to open the box. And no, I haven't heard the name of Pippa's baby, although we know it's a boy. Okay, the box. Right. I have felt that it feels like a book. So I'm expecting a book, but let's have a look. Oh, there's a note. Hang on. Oh, I saw something with royal on it. Well, I'm going to read the note first, because I always have to read the note. A gift note from Pamela G. Pam G, thank you so much. Enjoy your gift from Pam G of the San Francisco Bay Area. Happy reading it. Well, it is a book. I was right. Thank you so much to Pam, who sent me some lovely things in the past. But which book is it? Ooh, a picture book. Wow. It's The Modern Monarchy. It's a new book. The British Royal Family Today. Photography and text by Chris Jackson, who is an official photographer that goes on tours and photographs. It is in cellophane. I'm going to open it. Thank you so much to Pam. Let's see if I can open this very carefully. So I don't want to ruin the pages of the book. And the cellophane is fairly tight. So let's take that off and let's slide out the book. Okay, wow. So it's obviously lots of photographs. So let's just show you that one. The Modern Monarchy. Let's see. Oh, I see Christmas tree. That's one of the photographs of Camilla with the Christmas tree at Clarence House. Obviously, I'm not going to show too much of the book because you should probably go and buy it yourselves. But it does. Oh, the photographs are very clear, and of course, professional photography. Oh, a lovely photograph of Camilla. Sorry, I'm not going to show all what's in the book, obviously. But just on first glance, the pictures look amazing. There is some text to go along with the photographs, but it is primarily photographs. There's a photograph of the Queen and the Obamas when they visited. Lots of close-ups of brooches that the Queen's been wearing. Catherine and William's wedding, so it goes back a little bit in time too. And it looks like an incredible book and an introduction by Chris Jackson, the photographer himself. I would say this is a really good new book. Hashtag non-sponsored. So yes, I can probably show you the back cover as well. So those are some of the types of photographs that are inside. I would say that's a really lovely book, and I can't wait. It's kind of like a coffee table book where you can just put down and pick up, or just kind of peruse at your own leisure. It looks really wonderful. So thank you so much to Pam. I really look forward to taking a good look at that. Jamie says the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, patrons of the Royal Foundation, will visit not Close Core. Coach Core. It's Coach Core, Essex. Do you know what? I did hear about that one. In Basildon Sporting Village in Essex. Yes, that is the next engagement, but I forgot the date. Right, I'm gonna. Oh, actually, I'm not too far from the bottom anyway. Jamie says, "Oh my God, I want that book." And yes, it is new. People saying it's a lovely gift. Jojo says, "Well done, Pam." She's very kind. Pam is a very kind lady. Lots of people wanting the book. Jamie says, totally not jealous at all. I have some amazing viewers, I really do. Jessie says, oh my God, Elliot, wow, you look incredible. Thank you so much. Maybe I should keep up the look. Would I have suited Georgian times? Emerson 2012 says, what was the Queen's jewellery book I recommended? It was released for the Diamond Jubilee, and it's called The Queen's Diamonds. And it's a big, thick book. And I think on the official royal website, it's retailing for around about 60 British pounds or something of that nature. Oh, Jamie says, the Coach Court event is on the 30th of October. Well, there you go. Live, Love and Laugh says, have I ever had a themed party, royal costumes, obviously, who were dressed as... no, I haven't. I think this is probably as close as I've come to a royal themed costume. Now, I'm going to have to try and take some kind of thumbnail photo for this video. And I like doing it at the end because then I can find it quite easily. So let's do a fan flap. And let's see if we can come up with a decent thumbnail. One that looks fairly decent for the video. Obviously, thumbnails sell videos. So I'll be able to take a selection of these and see what happens. There we go. Sorry for the posing, but I do need to come up with a decent thumbnail. There, that will do. There'll be a photo frame amongst that. I'm sure I can use. Simone says, is it true that Harry and William want to go separate ways? Separate ways? What do you mean? Do you mean leaving the Royal Foundation? I very much doubt it. Maya J says, Lady Kitty Spencer would not have her expenses paid by the palace, so she's not a royal. Yes, exactly. She definitely isn't on any royal finances. Wanda says, that's because you are amazing and very positive and factual. Thank you so much. I'm glad people notice. C-Mac says, well, love you, Elliot, and I'm going to buy the book for myself. I really was teasing earlier right after this chat. It looks like an amazing book. I think I would recommend it, even though I haven't read it. Just having a quick glance, it does look really, really good. Yes, I did like it when Harry tried to fan flap the flies away. Jamie says, modelling 101. It does look very Madonna Vogue when she did her 1990 VMA performance of Vogue. No, I've never had a theme party. Where's the press? And Victoria says, I look awesome. Thank you so much. Now, there was something I was going to do. I am going to go very, very shortly because I think my voice has done really, really good to hold up. And it has been an hour and a half. But there was something that I wanted to do before I left. So I'm going to come out of... It requires me to find it, by the way. Maybe I will be able to find it. If I can find it, I'll do it. So let's have a look. But yes, I will be back next week, of course, live at 10 o'clock. But do not forget about the time change. So it will be an hour earlier wherever you are. Okay, I think I found it. Yes, I think I have found it. Okay. Yes, I'm going to see if I can get it on. Let's have a little poop. Okay. Oh, I hope this works. Can you hear it? Can you hear the telly in the background? Okay, wait. Reaching out, holding hands, reliving memories. As we smile through the years, the tears, the fears disappear. Life is full full of surprises. It's surprising how dreams come true. Life is full of surprises. And the nicest surprise in my life is you. Well, thank you for another wonderful week. And I will be with you next week live at 10 o'clock GMT. I need to turn the telly off. That didn't quite work out because my voice was all croaky. But anyway, thank you so much for being with me for this wonderful Halloween special. And I hope whenever you go to your Halloween parties and functions, parties, whatever, with your family, I hope you have an amazing time. So until next week, don't forget the time difference. We go back 1 hour in the UK. Goodbye from me.